Hello and welcome back to Blading the Dice Wargaming. My name's Tim and today we're going to be doing an unboxing video for FFG's Star Wars Legion, and we're going to be doing the Imperial bunker. Take a look at this. This is a terrain piece, so it doesn't come with any miniatures, unlike the Crash Escape Pod. However, it does come with some really significant missions, which are going to be an awful lot of fun if you are a narrative weirdo like me who enjoys that kind of gameplay. Right, let's start opening it up. See you in a second.
Okay, here's the bunker. Let's get out of the box. Now, I'm going to move my camera back a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of a different environment because I've had to come downstairs to use my kitchen because currently my wife is upstairs sick. So if I record this in the study, where I usually do this, things is going to wake her up and I will not. Well, frankly, I'll be in trouble, as I'm sure most of you will understand. Right, let me get all this stuff out. There's no shortage of things in here. So we're not going to focus on the cards. That's something we'll do. Oh, sorry, camera. You got a little bit of a knock in there. But let's have a look at this. So, 1 second. Who cares about the instructions? A load of, I think it's on the computer console looking at it. Yeah, looks like there's some good chairs there. We've got the packs which contain the doors. Let's see if we can slide it over so you can see it. There we go, that's some nice little detail there, so I'll enjoy putting that together. Yeah, and there's the back of it as well. Excellent. Then you've got the actual full back of the whole thing. Which is a solid piece, one solid piece, and it's thick and sturdy. Some nice detail, I'm presuming this is what you'll see from inside. Really nice looking. And then lastly, we've got the piece de resistance. So here's the bunker that you will recognise from Return of the Jedi. What I'm going to do is I want to open it up, I'm going to do a bit of gluing because I think to appreciate it you'll probably need to see it glued together. So we'll be back in just one moment. Okay, so I lied. I thought before I started gluing things together I'd let you have a look at the pieces out of the box because it surprised me, but there's absolutely no shortage of them. That is a heck of a lot of bits of plastic. Now you can deal with this with super glue or plastic glue. I think I'll take a few, to be honest with you, because plastic glue is a little bit easy to control. But the detail so far looks really pretty. So, back to my former promise. I'm going to glue the regular parts of this together, and then we can look at the whole thing together. Back in a moment. Okay, so this is it put together. Now, I'm going to bring you down so you can get a good look at it. Because I really love that level of detail. And if you are someone who quite likes to play thematic stuff, you've got a very compelling looking bunker from Endor there. The reason why I put R2-D2 and C-3PO in there is just so you can get a look at the scale and the size. There's some big old doors there. Really like the detail in there. It was a bit of a challenge to put together, but the instructions were very good. Lots of kind of fiddly bits. All these bits along the front had to be added. All the control panels in there. The doors in two parts, the floors apart. Panels around here that had to be done. The pipe work and the kind of hinges that are holding it up for separate parts. And that was just one part there, the weird little tanker thing. But yeah, a really nice looking bit of kit. But yeah, let me show you one of its tricks. Hang on 2 seconds. Okay, so here we are at the bunker door, and you might not be terribly surprised it does this. But the door removes, so you don't glue that in. And inside we've got, well, we now have stormtroopers, but inside we've got an exquisitely detailed base. And what we've got here is these really fancy computer consoles. Now, I've lined them up a bit wonky, but essentially you could break them down into 6 individual pieces of scattered terrain, or do them as a single big unit like I've done, or maybe even glue them together if you're so inclined. Now, just very quickly, I'll point out, now you probably know this already, but this back piece comes off. So if you're an absolute lunatic and didn't mind spending a fortune, you could buy 2 of these and put them back to back, because they're designed where they'll fit straight into the back of there, and when you are playing it through, it will just kind of naturally feed through because the stop is right there, so there's nothing to stop it kind of going through. So you could have quite a sizable bunker, something that you could play the game through. Another thing I should mention, I'll just bring this down here a little bit, is the bunker's double-sided. So you've got the kind of the original blast door that you'll probably remember seeing, and then the kind of reinforced one, which I think is the one that drops when when they're messing with the panel and it goes a bit bananas. So you get a real feel for that. But I am so super impressed with these. I can't wait to have a go with this. So I'm going to give it a spray, and I hope I'll be using it in a day or two. So this is the finished article after it's hardened some paint, and all I've done is I sprayed it black, then did that zenithal highlighting it with a light grey from above, just to try to catch a little bit of the lighter shadow. I've then, with a sponge, started gradiating some different kind of blacks and greys, and then stippled it on, and then used a flat brush just to try to smooth it down. And the idea was that it would create a sheet metal kind of look, because I thought if it was flat it wouldn't be very kind of attractive. Now I'm going to go around and kind of do some kind of silver on these bits just to kind of make it highlighted and add a little bit more detail to the inside of the computer panels there. And I'm going to hit it with some of the Army Painter rust effect, the dry rust, in certain places just to kind of make it look weathered. Now I've had to kind of hold back on some of the detail I liking to do, because I've got several boards for Legion, including like an Endor one and like a desert one, so I need to try to find a way to make this fit and everything. So I think it's just going to have some very basic rust added to it and some streaks, but all I've done here is just try to make it look kind of like a layered paint, a little bit scratched. That looks a little bit more pronounced than it is in real life. It's a bit more subtle, just looks more like the gradients of the metal itself. Inside, not quite finished yet, but the same kind of thing, but done a metallic silver for the flooring. I need to go around and kind of tidy these bits up, because obviously I was doing it pretty rushed when I was doing it. And yeah, I'm really kind of quite pleased with that, and the detail inside is very nice, and I thought now that it's painted you could appreciate that a little bit more. Let's have a look at the final pieces that came with it. The computer consoles, let's wait for it to zoom in nicely. 1 second, come on, there we go. Okay, not quite, it's not really wanting to do that today. See if we do it together, maybe it'll do it. So essentially I've decided to glue them together in a way. Now it's not really getting a really good view on that, you'll finally start to get it. But some real nice detail on that, and I've done a really basic job of it. I mean, properly tabletop basic, because I don't have a lot of time these days. But essentially from a distance you've got these kind of workable consoles that fitted nicely, look the absolute business. And if you're playing some kind of narrative campaign, they'll fit in nicely with that. Oh, one thing I want to say, if you are getting one of these and building it yourself, this underside piece here, it must have fell off like a load of different times when I was messing around with it. So make sure you glue it on like every edge. That edge is actually quite difficult to do. These ones here are much more natural places to do it. But I was finding whenever I was taking the door out, that because I was kind of putting some pressure down on it, it was kind of shifted out. But anyway, so yeah, there we go. In fact, it's still trying to come apart there, but that's something for me to come back to and work on. Yeah, really pleased with the way this came out, and obviously this is kind of a bit of a basic job. I did rush through a lot of it, but I kind of feel like it's kind of caught a bit of a grubby looking building that's maybe been out in the elements for a long time, and has a sheet metalish look to it. Okay, last final touches. We've put in the rust effect that I mentioned from Army Painter, which I love. It's one of my favourite things. And all I've done is just kind of put it on the inside there at the top, and it just makes it look like where water's drained down it, and I quite like that. And then I've gone and brushed down with some null oil. I've been really kind of generous with where it's gone. But what I have done is I've done it kind of really loosely. So essentially it's left a lot of kind of subtlety in the paintwork. I think you can probably see it better on this side, where you can see where it has left its mark, but also hasn't. So I think it just adds to a bit more of the weather stuff. But really nicely, it kind of brought out the kind of highlights on the panels again, because I was using the null oil gloss version. So it's kind of caught out some of the kind of details that haven't been lost, but certainly benefit from having a bit more detail to it. And then on the inside, pick this up. Alright, yeah, you can still see that's dried. It's really wet looking. I have to go get my brush and move that around because it's actually not settling very well. But I've done the same in there, just so it kind of picks up and you get a real feel for the way it's supposed to sit. Okay, to the cards then. So this is the setup. Let me just try to get it focused in on this nicely. Okay then, so this is for the mission Extraction Act 1. So you can see from the deployment you're playing on a full-size board there, The green in the middle is supposed to be where this bunker is sitting, so you know straight away this bunker is going to be a significant part of this. Sorry, my camera's struggling to keep in focus today. There we go, hopefully that'll do it. But essentially you've got some kind of wacky-ish deployment zones where the blue player, presumably the rebels in this case, are set up on the long edges, jutting inwards, and you've got the Empire who are going to be out in the corners. So I think it favours the rebels in this approach. And so let me just read the text to you. Set up, the total points of the red player's army can equal up to 900 points. Must include at least 4 core units. At the start of the deploy unit steps, randomly select 2 core units controlled by the red player and set aside those units and their order tokens. So essentially this is going to give you a rapid reinforcements-esque thing where at some point these guys will be coming on, so you'll have a good amount of troops in the area. You're going to have a good amount of points to be able to get some ATSTs on there, which is always good and always thematic, and you'll get resupplied as things go along. Right then, so this is the setup. This is the situation. So Prisoner Act 1. Setup at the start of the place terrain steps. Red player places the bunker terrain with its within the green deployment zone with its door closed. Then the blue player, so the rebel player, places 4 barricades at range 1 of the bunker. During setup, all other terrain pieces must be placed beyond range 1 of the bunker. So it's in something of a clearing, which is good. And I only got 4 barricades around it. During the deploy unit steps, the blue player, rebels, must deploy 2 trooper units with their unit leaders in base contact with a bunker. At the end of the deploy unit steps, the red player may choose up to 2 friendly core units. Each chosen unit performs a speed 2 move. While a unit set aside is placed inside the bunker, units cannot otherwise move or be placed in the bunker. Right, so that sounds like the rebels are going to be able to be deployed in the blue and have a limited number in the green as well, so they're already holding that. And it sounds like the set aside ones are going to presumably be inside that bunker, and hopefully at some point I'm going to imagine they'll get released into the wild to really start messing with stuff. Right then, and this is the overall mission, so let me try to take a nice careful view of this one. Oh, I'll tell you what, I've got the wrong card there. Here we go, rescue mission, there we go, that's better, isn't it? Okay, and then so each trooper controlled by the blue player, so rebels, gains capture. If you and another friendly trooper unit are engaged with an enemy or a support trooper unit, set aside that unit's order token, and capture is an action there. Each trooper unit controlled by the red player gains rescue. If you are engaged with your unit leader in base contact with a bunker terrain piece, choose a set-aside unit and place it on the battlefield with the unit leader in base contact with a bunker, and then place its order token face down next to it. Okay, and the victory is, at the end of the game, if there are at least 2 set-aside units, the blue player gains 2 victory tokens. If there are no set-aside units, the red player gains 2 victory tokens. If they're exactly 1 set-aside unit, each player gains 1 victory token. So you've got a win-lose-draw situation there. So it sounds like the idea is not quite like Endor, where they were storming the bunker to go and blow some stuff up. This is you are kind of using the bunker as a means to capture some enemy units, and you can capture some troops or some trooper units or the support troops. Going to be quite an interesting mission, that, to be honest with you. I think it's probably going to be one of those ones which shifts tides as the game plays on. Okay, so we'll look at the next ones. So this is Act 2. Here we go. So firstly, let's have a look at the cards. Let's let the camera catch up and get you out of some shade. There we go, that'll do nicely, I think. So, surrounded, this is for Act 2. So the bunker, pretty much in the same position, but this time you've got 2 kind of lateral deployments for the Empire and 2 very central ones for the rebels. So essentially they're going to be controlling the mainstay of that, but looks like they're going to be getting encroached from either side. So the text is, when it zooms in enough, blue player must play the same faction as it did in Act 1. Well, naturally. The total points in the red player's army can equal up to 900 points and must include at least 4 troop units. During the deploy unit stage, the blue player first deployment must be placing a trooper unit inside the bunker terrain piece. Interesting. So you're going to have a requirement to place it inside there. Apologies, I'm struggling to get my camera to focus on the text very well today. Okay, so defended fortifications. So as part of the setup stage, let's see if we can get it to zoom in a bit more. There we go. At the start, the place terrain steps, the red player places the bunker terrain piece within the green deployment zone. There we go, with the door closed. Then the blue player places 4 barricades at range 1 during setup or terrain, blah blah blah. So essentially the same as before. It's in a clearing, other than the barricades around it. Which I think if you look at the that, you're going to be in a quite a bit of open there. So there could be a lot of terrain in these areas here. Okay. Each trooper unit controlled by the blue player that is inside the bunker gains broadcast. Choose 2 other friendly units. Each chosen unit gains 1 aim, 1 dodge, or 1 standby. Interesting. Each trooper unit that has a unit leader base contact with the bunker gains action open. Remove the bunker door. Each trooper unit that has a unit leader in base contact with the door of the bunker gains open. Remove the bunker door. All other troopers gain secure munitions. Claim an unclaimed objective token that is in base contact with your unit leader. So it looks like these ones are going to take 2 actions. So broadcast and open, unless you are touching the door, is going to be a double action. Interesting. So this one seems like it's much more about getting hold of some kind of really clutch munitions to use them for your objective points. Okay, and here is the actual mission itself. So setup. Each player starts the game with any victory tokens that they gained in Act 1. Cool. Then the blue player gains 3 additional victory tokens. After the deploy unit steps, the red player chooses 4 friendly trooper unit leaders and places a claim token objective in base contact with each chosen unit leader. Okay, cool. Each token that each trooper unit controlled by the red player gains action arm 1 objective token. And which means you place one of your claimed objective tokens within range 1 and in line of sight of your unit leader, and then turn it face down to its unclaimed side. During the activation, each trooper unit controlled by the red player gains detonate objective token. So they get to detonate a activation token. Interesting. So how does that work in practice then? Yeah, so it looks like you're essentially going to be chucking some grenades with a 2 red and a white critical 1. So it's going to be a messy one. This looks like there's going to be some blood, gore, and some terrible mess on the Forest Moon of Endor here. So, victory. The red player takes 1 victory token from the blue player for each objective token that was detonated inside the bunker terrain piece. Interesting. Oh, maybe the idea is this is a bit more, might be switched, where it might be better if you played it the red as the rebels and the blue as the Empire. So the rebels are now trying to oh, interesting. Either way, it sounds like it could work in any situation. Depends on what you're trying to go for. But frankly, I'm really pleased with that. That looks like a great way to be playing this game. Hopefully that was nice and clear